So when I had my first management job, it was in the Clinton administration. I was at HHS, I worked with Secretary Shalala, and I wrote an order, because that's how I was taught. I'm a doctor. I write orders. Admit to 3 South. CBC X-ray. I guess the days of automatic orders are over. But I thought that if I wrote an order or told them what to do, that they would do it. And they didn't, and clearly they hadn't seen my order. But I started to look, how could I really change behavior? What are the things that I have to do? Because remember, I can only control what I do. I can't control anybody else. That's why I'm talking about this. The questions that you need to ask are the ones that you hold up in the front of the people, the mirror you hold up in the front of the people you're trying to talk to get them to ask the right questions to get answers for what they're looking for. Did you get the project done? 2, what resources can I give you to get the project done? 2, what do you think about the project?
Number 2, much more engaging, and I want to jump in. The other one, I want to run away.
Well, and when people also ask you about your thoughts for the project, we learned today it's really about collaboration, and we generally are not trained to do that because we're trained to write orders and people obey them. But yet in medicine, we don't use it much, so we don't want to talk about, I got a coach. What do you mean I got a coach? Yeah, it's really cool, but I'm supposed to know it all. So there's a gradual change in medicine from going to not having a coach to having a coach, but it's still sort of in the early stages. And what's interesting is, like one doctor I coached said, my dad's a doctor, and he said he wished he'd had a coach, right? The things you can do are amazing. So think about that. We're killing people by not working as effectively as we could in these emotional intelligence things. People say, oh, you have your personal life and your professional life. You don't. They're all smushed together. How you show up in the world is generally how you show up wherever you are. I mean, the more you are present as who you are, you show up in the real world, because a true leader, it's all about integrity. It's about being and acting as you are, as you say you are. So it means keeping your promises. And if you can't, it means getting back with an explanation. Do I have permission to coach you in front of this group?
Sure.
Okay, you always ask permission. What happens if you don't? Like if you try to coach your spouse? You can use a spousing approach, but if you try to, and it's really good with kids. It is really good with kids, but if you start doing it all the time, they're going to say, no. In the language you were using, I try to do this, I try to do that, I try to do that. And there's a saying that there is no trying, there's only just doing.
Okay.
So what'd you think of that?
I thought it was fabulous. It was a good example of what you said about asking broader questions and getting around the issue.
So is there anything so far that you feel that you can commit to, one small goal?
That was it.
So can I get your word?
Scott's on.
That's all it is. You can do that. So here's the coaching exercise. What I'm going to do is have you break into groups of 3, and if there's 3, you can do 2 or 4, whatever you'd like, and you can but person A is going to be the coach in round 1, person B is going to be the client, and person 3 is going to be the observer. And we're going to have 2 minutes. But remember, we learned it's okay to fail, because that's how you get better. You ask the right questions and you end up helping each other, right? You can get your own coach where you live, yes. And please, if you have questions to ask, do that as well. So it helps you to rephrase things, because sometimes where we live, we can't see the water we're swimming in, right? But if we have somebody we trust to point out, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You notice that with him, I didn't jump into solution mode. What do you make of that? What do you think of that? Because you want that person to draw his or her own conclusions, because that is what will work for him or her, not your explanations. Anything else? Remember, you can't solve this. You can't use the same solutions that you had to solve the problems. We've been hearing that all, at the whole bunch of this conference. What else? Pat, did you have something to say? We're just at time, and I know you guys have other things to do, but I want to thank you for being a good sports, participating. It was very nice. Thank you.